Okay, for this project, I am using regular Red Heart Super Saver. That's what this is. I took the tag off, I'm sorry, but it's just regular Red Heart Super Saver. It's 100% medium worsted weight 4-ply acrylic. But you don't have to use this brand. You can use any type of 4-ply yarn that you have. This color that I'm using is called Perfectly Pink. And then I'm using a size J, which is a 6mm crochet hook. Now this stitch is done in a multiple of 3 plus 5 in case you want to make your bag bigger or smaller, or you want to use this stitch for something else. Now you want to start out with a chain of 50 if you want to follow me. I'm going to make mine on a little smaller scale because I already have my big piece done. But remember, you want to start with a chain of 50. Now what you want to do is you want to do a double crochet in the 6th stitch from the hook, the 6th one. We don't count this one, so we count over 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Do a double crochet in that stitch. Now what we're going to do is we're going to work a cluster stitch, and we're going to do it around this double crochet that we just did. So we're going to chain 3 first. 1, 2, 3. And now we're going to work around this double crochet, and we're going to yarn over, and we're going to go right around the post of the double crochet and draw up a loop. And then we're going to yarn over and go through the first 2 loops on our hook. Now we want to do that 3 times, and that counts as number 1. So again, we're going to yarn over and go around that double crochet, draw up a loop, yarn over and go through the first 2 loops on your hook. And again, yarn over, go around that double crochet, draw up a loop, and yarn over and go through the first 2 loops. Now you should have 4 loops on your hook. With them 4 loops still on your hook, you want to skip 2 stitches, and you got to kind of pull this back to make sure you're getting the right one. So skip 1, skip that one, and then this one you want to yarn over, go into it, draw up a loop like you're going to do a double crochet, but we're going to yarn over and go through the first 2 loops on our hook like that. Now you'll have 5 loops, and we're going to yarn over and go through all 5 loops like that. I know it seems a little bit difficult probably, but once you get the first row done, it'll be a little bit easier. I actually had a little bit of trouble with the stitch. I hadn't done it for a long time, and it took me a little while, but I got it. So now what you want to do is chain 3. 1, 2, 3. Now we're going to work around this double crochet right here that we just did. And we're going to do this again. So we're going to yarn over, and we're going to go around the post and draw up a loop. And we're going to yarn over and go through the first 2 loops on our hook. And we want to do that 3 times. So that was 1. Go around the post. 2. One more time around the post. 3. So you got 4 loops on your hook, and now you want to skip 2 stitches. So kind of pull your stitch over so you can make sure you're getting skipping the right one. So skip, skip, and the next one we're going to yarn over like we're going to do a double crochet. Go into the stitch, draw up a loop, and we're going to yarn over and go through the first 2, and then you'll have 5 loops on your hook, and yarn over and go through all 5 loops like that. Now we're going to chain 3 again. Now we're just kind of repeating this. So chain 3, and we're going to work around this double crochet right here, and we're going to do yarn over, go around the double crochet, draw up a loop, and yarn over and go through the first 2 loops on our hook. And we're going to yarn over, go around it again, draw up a loop, yarn over, go through the first 2. So that's 2 times. We're going to do it one more time. Yarn over again, draw up a loop, yarn over, go through the first 2. Now we're going to skip 2 stitches. So kind of pull this back so you can make sure you're getting not counting this one as 1. 1, 2, and then the next one, yarn over like you're going to do a double crochet, draw up a loop, yarn over, go through the first 2. We have 5 loops left. You want to yarn over and go through all 5, just like that. Now we're going to do it again. We're going to chain 3, working around this double crochet right here. We're going to do the same thing. So we're going to yarn over, go around it, draw up a loop, yarn over, go through the first 2, Again, yarn over, drop a loop, yarn over, go through the first 2. One more time. Yarn over, go through the first 2. You got 4 loops. Now we're going to skip 2 stitches. So skip, skip, and into the next one we're going to yarn over like we're going to do a double crochet. Go in it, drop a loop, yarn over, go through the first 2. You got 5 loops left. You want to yarn over and go through all 5. Just like that. And then I'm going to chain 3 and I'm going to repeat. And I'm going to work in this double crochet and I'm going to do it again. So I'll go ahead and do it again one more time. That's 1, 2, and 3, and skip my next 2 stitches, skip, 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 and go like I'm going to double crochet into my next, drop a loop, yarn over, go through the first 2, 5 loops, yarn over, go through all 5, and then chain 3, and then you work around this double crochet, and you just want to repeat that until you get to the end of the row. Okay, once you're coming to the end of the row, remember I did mine on a shorter scale. You'll have more than me, and I just did this last one, and you should have 2 stitches left there at the end, and that's what you're supposed to have. So what we're going to do is go ahead and do our chain 3, and then we're going to do our 3 around this double crochet, this last one here. Like that. And now we're just going to skip this one, and we're going to jump over here to the last one, and we're going to go in it like we're going to do a double crochet, go through the first 2, and then we're going to yarn over and go through all 5, just like that. So that's the first row. It's probably the most difficult to get. After that it's pretty easy. Now from now on it's just going to be a repeat of this row 2 that we're doing now. So we're going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and then we're going to turn our work. Now we're going to do 1 double crochet right here in this first chain 3 space, and then we're going to chain 3. Now we're going to work around that double crochet doing our little cluster. So we're going to yarn over, go around it, do that 3 times. So that was 1, 2, 3, and then we're going to go jump to the next chain 3 space, yarn over and go into it and draw up a loop, yarn over and go through the first 2, and then yarn over and go through all 5, just like that. And then we're going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and we're going to be working around this double crochet right here. You just want to make sure that you're working around this double crochet that's kind of angled and you're not working around the chain 3 space. So we'll go right through it again and do our 3 little clusters here. Like that. So you'll have 4 loops there. Now you want to jump over here to your next chain 3 space, yarn over and go right through it, draw up a loop, yarn over and go through the first 2, and then you yarn over and go through all 5. And that's the repeat now. We just chain 3 again, and we'll work around this double crochet, not that chain 3 space, but this double crochet, and we'll do our little cluster through it. Like that. 4 loops on your hook, jump over here to the next chain 3, yarn over, go all the way over here, draw up a loop, yarn over and go through the first 2, and then yarn over and go through all 5. Again, you just chain 3, and we're working along this double crochet. Make sure you don't go into this chain 3 here, and you do your little cluster. Four loops on your hook, and now we're going to jump all the way over here to the next chain 3, yarn over, go right into it, drop a loop, yarn over and go through the first 2 loops, and then yarn over and go through all 3. And now we're going to chain 3, and we're just going to keep repeating that until we get to the end of the row. So go around this double crochet there and do your little cluster again. And then we're going to jump all the way over here to the next chain 3, yarn over, go into it, drop a loop, yarn over and go through the first 2 loops, and then you'll have 5 loops, yarn over, go through all 5 loops. And as you can see, that's what it starts to look like. They're just kind of slanted because you're going on the sides of the double crochets. So we chain 3 again, work around this double crochet, and we're just going to keep repeating this until the end of the row. That. Jump over here to this last chain 3 space. Remember, yours is going to be a lot longer than mine, but once you get over here to your last chain 3 space, go ahead and yarn over and go into it, drop a loop, yarn over and go through the first 2, and then yarn over and go through all 5. Now we're going to do it one more time. We're going to chain 3, and we're going to go around this double crochet here, this last double crochet that we just made, and do our cluster. And then our last stitch is, you're going to pull this back a little bit, the top of this chain. We're going to yarn over and just go right into the top of it, and drop a loop, and yarn over and go through the first 2 loops, and then yarn over and go through all 5. And that's how we end that row. And then we're going to chain 3 and turn, and then we're just going to repeat row 2. And you should have mine's smaller, but you should have 15 of these at the end of every round, or at the end of every row. You should always have 15. So you just chain 3 and start again, and then you double crochet right back here into the first chain 3 space, and then you chain 3, and then working around this double crochet, the first double, we're going to do our little cluster. So I'm just repeating the row that we did before, and that's all it is. It's just a repeat of that row. And we jump over here to the next chain 3 space, yarn over, go into it, yarn over, go through the first 2, and then yarn over and go through all 5 like that. And then we chain 3, and we just keep repeating around this double crochet here. We do our cluster, jump over here to the next chain 3, yarn over, go in, drop a loop, go through the first 2, 5 loops on your hook, yarn over, go through all 3, chain 3, and repeat, going around this double. And you can just, the most important thing is to remember is to always go around this double, not to chain 3, because that's what makes them look slanted. That's what gives them that slanted look. So just remember that you need to go do your little cluster around the slanted stitch, and then you'll be okay. But you want to do that for a total of 20 rows, and that's what it starts to look like here. Yep, 20 rounds or 20 rows, and then you can fold it in half like this, and go ahead. You can go ahead and tie off after that 20th row. I already clipped my yarn. And now what we're going to do is sew the sides together. And I'm just going to use my yarn needle and a long piece of yarn to do that. I'm just going to simply sew the sides up. And both sides look the same, so it doesn't matter if there's one that's wrong or the one that's the right way. Now what you want to do is just want to line up your sides here. And I got a piece of yarn on my hook. And I'm just going to make sure that they're even. I'm just going to start at the top here. And I'm just going to neatly sew it together as neatly as I can. I'm just going to go over, like back over again, because I'll probably flip it the other way whenever I'm done sewing it. Oh, I'm just gonna do this as neatly as I can. So take your time sewing it up, and keep it lined up to your shell. Each row of shells lined up so it doesn't look funky whenever you flip it right side out or wrong. You flip it the other side. Just take your time, do it neatly. You could also go around it if you wanted to with a row of single crochet first, and then like maybe that would be easier for you to sew it together, but I think this way works just fine too. Just make sure you stop to look every once in a while to make sure you're keeping your rows lined up. Just kind of pull it apart and make sure your shells are lining up equal. That's what I do anyways. And I'm just kind of grabbing the top stitches there. I'm going to do this all the way down on both sides. And hopefully it'll look okay when it's done. You can kind of stop and then see what your seam's starting to look like. Yeah, it's looking pretty good. It's lining up good. You can see your shells lining up. So I'm going to do this all the way down both sides. Remember, just take your time, making sure each rows of your shells stay lined up. Okay, I'm going to finish this side, and then I'm going to neatly go down the other side, just taking my time, making sure everything's lined up, and then we'll get started on the handles. Okay, once you get it all sewed together, just flip it inside out or right side out, and then your seam will be on the inside. And then just get it kind of all straightened out. And now I'm going to start on the handles. I'm probably not going to do anything around the top because I kind of like the look of the chain threes. But if you wanted to go around the top with a row of single crochet or something to clean that up, you could. But I'm just going to set this piece to the side for now. And now for the handles, they're really easy. Okay, what we're going to do is start off with the slip knot on our hook. And then we're going to work a chain of 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Now we're going to put 1 single crochet in the second stitch from the hook, and then 1 single crochet in every stitch until you get to the end of your chain. So you should have 5 single crochets now when you get to the end. And now I'm just going to chain 1, and I'm going to turn my work. And right here in this very first stitch, I'm going to single crochet. And then I'm going to put 1 single crochet in every stitch to the end of the row again. And you still should have 5 single crochets. I'm going to chain 1 and turn, and I'm just going to repeat. In the very first stitch, single crochet, and now it's 1 single crochet in every stitch until you get to the end of the chain, or the end of the row. Just like that. So it's just rows of 5 single crochets. And I did it, you can actually do it as long as you want, but I went ahead and did mine. I did a total of 55 rows of single crochet. And you want to cut off and leave a long tail there so you can sew it on. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to fold it in half and sew it like this. That way it is a little bit of a thicker handle. So how I do that is I just get a piece of yarn. And my yarn needle, and what I'm going to do is fold my piece in half, but I'm going to start, I want to count up 6 rows, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and I'm going to start there at the 7th and fold it in half. That way these 6 rows are not sewed together. And I'm just going to take it and sew it like this. Back and forth. Sewing it together at the edges. I guess kind of the way that you sewed it, the sides together. But this is going back and forth. And you want to do this all the way down. And I'm going to make both handles the same. I just jabbed myself with that needle. And what this does is it kind of just makes it a little bit look a little thicker. You don't have to do this. And you can actually like make any kind of handle you want to. You don't have to do it like me. It's your bag, you do it however you like. There's no wrong way. But you just do this all the way down, the whole handle. And so you keep folding in half and sewing it all the way down until you get to your last 6 rows, and you leave them unsewn just like you did down here. Okay, to sew on these handles, I'm just using like the tails of it. I got one sewed on, you can see there. I'm just sewing them on right, like here's my seam. I'm counting over 1, 2, and I'm sewing it on the 3rd and the 4th one on that row like that. And I'm just going to neatly sew it on all around it, just to make sure it's nice and tight. Go back through, and then like that. Just make sure you do it nice and neat. That's all you have to do when you're sewing. Like that. And then I'm going to go up, keep it nice and straight, and we're going to go up the side here. And then back to around the top here a little bit, get it sewed on. You can go over it a couple times and get it sewed on really good if you want. If you're going to be carrying heavy stuff in it. And then go back down this side. And then almost what I'm going to do is just bring this over and match it up again on this side. Count 2 over from the seam and sew it on in between the 3rd and the 4th one, just like that. Okay, once you get your handle sewed on, I'm going to sew it on the big ribbon that I'm going to put on the front. Now you want to start off with a chain of 80. I already got my big piece done, but I'll go ahead and show you on a smaller scale. Once you get your chain of 80 done, you want to go ahead and single crochet in the 2nd stitch from the hook. And then you want to half double into the next stitch. And now we're just going to do 1 double crochet in every stitch for the length of the chain until we get to our last 2 stitches. So remember, yours is going to be a lot longer because I'm just doing a little small sample of it. So 1 double in every stitch. And then when you get to your last 2 stitches, okay, I've made it to my last 2. You want to just half double into the next, and then single crochet into the last. And then you can tie that off. And then what we'll do is I'm going to go around it. Here's my big piece in white. So what I'm gonna do is just start my white right down here. See, you want to have your ribbon facing probably this way with your stitches facing up like that, and just start right here in this first stitch. And you want to start by chaining 1, Now I'm going to work right back into that same stitch, and I'm going to put a single crochet. I want to make sure the right side of your stitches are facing you too. I'm sorry, like there's the wrong side with the right side facing you. And then I'm going to work one single crochet in every stitch until I get down to the end. And you don't have to outline it in white if you don't want to. That's completely up to you. But I'm going to work one single crochet in every stitch all the way down until I get down here to the other end. Okay, when you make it down here to your last stitch, what you want to do is work 2, 3, 4 single crochets into that last stitch, and then just continue working 1 single crochet in every stitch until you get down to the other side, and that just kind of helps around the corner a little bit so it's not sticking up or anything. So just continue working. 1 single crochet in every stitch until you get down to the other end. I'm trying to hide these tails too, so just like that. Okay, when you make it to your last stitch on this end, go ahead and put 4 single crochets in it to round it out, and then you're going to slip stitch into your first single crochet, not that chain 1 but the first single crochet, and then you can tie that off and hide that tail. Now what this is we got to sew it on the bag. And you can fold it. It's just going to be a lot of sewing, I believe. But you get it on here how you I like to, let me get a pin here a little. Okay, it's good to use like these little pins, and once you get it situated on how you decide how you want it, I kind of always just pin it in place just onto the inside one layer of the bag, because there's going to be a lot of sewing, but you just get it fixed on how you think it looks good. And then you're basically just going to sew it on through the inside of the bag the same way we sewed the handles. I'm going to go around, make sure that's how I want it. Okay, make sure you get it just how you want it, just where you want it. And I'm going to use my pink yarn. I'll just start anywhere. I'll probably just start right down here. And just sew it on neatly all the way up the ribbon. Probably take a little while to get it done. But just like that. I'm just going inside the bag. I'm going right on in between the pink and the white. That just came out. And I'm going to keep doing this all the way up my ribbon, around the curve, probably both sides of it. So yeah, hand sewing it'll take a little while, but I'm going to do this till it's all sewed on. If you want to put more pins in it too to hold it in place, you can. For some reason I just can't find all mine, but I'll look for them in a minute. I just wanted to give you a little idea. This is just doing it pretty much the same way as the handles, just going right on the edge, sewing it up neatly. So I'm going to go ahead and get this sewed on. Like that. All the way up both sides of the pink. Okay, here's what we can do with this ribbon. You can sew it on both sides of the pink, like I said, and it'll flatten it out like that. Or I think I'm just going to sew it. I sew on both sides of the pink to about here. And I'm going to kind of just only do the inside here. That way it kind of flips up like a ribbon. But you can do it either way that you want. But I got a little bit more sewing to do. I just want to show you that option. But then I'll get, I got some beads to put on it. Okay, I got these beads from Walmart. Just some ribbon beads, breast cancer beads. And I just strung them on a piece of yarn. And I'm just going to tie them up here around the handle. Or you could sew them on if you wanted, really. It's up to you. I'll probably just tie them right around it. Like that. But this is something optional too. You don't have to do this. But I'm going to go ahead and get these on. All I did was to string the beads. It's real easy. You just use your yarn needle, put a piece of yarn on it, and then string the beads on the yarn. So that's all I do anyways. I don't know if it's right, but that's usually what I do. So I'm going to go ahead and get that tied on there. Okay, that's it. That's all there is to it. It's a pretty easy bag. Didn't really take too long. I still got a little bit of sewing to do on that, but I'll do that later off camera since I'm done. If you want to put a liner in it, a pretty white liner would look good. But that's it. That's it. That's all there is to it. Don't forget to check out all my other tutorials. I have hundreds of them on YouTube. Don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel. And don't forget to check me out on Facebook and Etsy and Pinterest and Twitter. I'll put the links to all that stuff below in the description box. And until next time, have a good day.